Bitcoin just had the highest weekly close since May of 2022. Yes, it closed just above $37,000 last week with a nice green candle. So what is happening here? Are we in a full-blown bull market? What can we expect next? Let me dive into the weekly chart. Let me share some insights, some levels, and some things to watch. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, follow my page, subscribe to my channel down below, because there's a lot of updates coming your way over the coming weeks and months. Also, if you need help getting started with crypto, with trading, with investing, you want access to a community, you want access to me for ongoing guidance and support, join my VIP membership. The link is in the description down below. Running a special Black Friday offer now until the 28th of this month, where you can get access at the lowest price it's ever been, the most amount of bonuses and training that I've ever offered, and it is completely risk-free with a 60-day money-back guarantee. So if you're interested, click the link in the description down below. Alright, so hopping into the weekly chart here, you can see this is Bitstamp. We have had a crazy few green weeks in a row, which is very nice to see. We're currently sitting at just under 37,000, but last week's candle actually closed, as you can see, at 37,086. So what we have here, the 50-week moving average in blue, the 200 in red, and as you can see, we're currently well above both of those, and that is simply full-blown bull market territory. If you base it on that, you can see over here when it was above both, the entire 2021 bull market. You can see over here when it was above both, entire bull market, even here when it was above here, bull market. Okay, so based on the technicals purely on these two moving averages, we are in full-blown bull market territory. The trend is up and we can expect higher until invalidation. Okay, so with trading, with investing, with these markets, with making predictions, it is always based around the if-then type of framework, and that simply in this case is if the price is above both of these key moving averages, then the trend is bullish and we're expecting higher until invalidation. Invalidation is if we close back below, say, the 200-week moving average, the red one, then we're looking at a potential trend reversal. But until then, we are bullish and the trend, the expectation is higher. Now, can we get pullbacks? Will we get pullbacks? Obviously, yes. Along any bull market trend, there are pullbacks. Look at what happened in 2020. Now, we had a major run to the upside, but there were little pullbacks here. Little ones. Emphasis on little. Look what happened in 2017 over here. Small pullback. Over here in 2019, small pullback. So when the trend is full-blown bull, you tend to not get crazy pullbacks. You don't get a chance to re-enter much lower at levels that you would like to enter at. That is the whole thing about these bull markets. They are designed that when it goes up, that everyone who's sidelined has a very difficult time deciding when to get in. Because if you were thinking, hey, you were going to get in at 15,000, or you're waiting for another drop to 20,000, or at this moment even 25,000, sounds a lot better than 37,000, but you might not get that opportunity for the rest of the bull market. Now, the higher that the price goes, the harder it becomes to make a decision of where do you buy in. Imagine Bitcoin just continues going to 50,000. At what point then do you decide, do you wait for a drop back to 40,000 or 35,000, where it's basically currently at, or do you buy in at 50 and hope it goes higher? And the higher that the prices go, the harder the decision becomes, also because the risk reward changes dramatically. In 2022, at the end of the year, when Bitcoin was around 15,000, very briefly, the risk reward is very different, because 15,000 could still potentially do a 10x, right? If it would go to 150,000 in the next bull market peak, who knows if it'll ever do that, but that might be a more realistic thought. But if it's at 50,000, going to 150,000 is only a 3x. If it's at 100,000, it's only a 1.5x. So the risk reward changes dramatically. And as we start going higher, also, Bitcoin just becomes unaffordable, the upside return becomes less, and then people start to look at other coins. So we start looking at, for example, Ethereum, and if that's currently at just around $2,000, you know, what happens when that goes to 3 or 4 or 5,000? Maybe it goes to 10,000 in the bull market. Right now, that's still potentially a 5x. But if Ethereum goes back to the last cycle highs at 5,000, then it's still only potentially a 2x for a lot more drawdown, right? So the risk reward starts to make less sense the higher we go. And then people start looking at the altcoins, because Bitcoin is pumped so much, Ethereum is pumped so much, and there's basically no risk reward there. That makes sense. So you start looking at altcoins that could potentially still do a 10x or maybe a 20x, and they start working their way down the lower market caps. And as the bull market progresses into more and more euphoria, it becomes harder and harder to find coins that haven't pumped yet, and you're basically forced to buy in a lot higher, and the risk reward is a lot worse. So still, right now, I still think we are at the early stages of a potential bull market. I think things are looking good for 2024, and hopefully we see major upside, new all-time highs for Bitcoin, and a lot of upside for altcoins. But again, you still want to be paying attention now, because if the prices double from here, if Bitcoin doubles and altcoins go up, it becomes a lot harder. That's why I've been saying this throughout the bear market. You want to get involved when it's early, and you want to be prepared for that. Okay, so we're in a situation now, we're at 37,000. I see a lot of people wanting a pullback. Firstly, for reasons like, one, it's gone up so much and I don't believe it and it has to pull back. And two, a lot of people have missed this or even shorting this whole pump up into 37,000, and they're looking for a chance to re-enter. So can we get a drop? Of course we can. So on the higher time frame, for me, the trend is bullish until we lose the 200-week moving average at this point, which is about 29,000, meaning that we could drop as far as 29,000 and still not invalidate this trend. So that makes it tricky. That's an $8,000 drop potentially. But again, like I just said, I see a lot of people who are looking for a pullback. So maybe what we get is we get a bit more of a push up towards like 41,000, also a nice round number, where probably a lot of people are going to start getting more FOMO, and maybe people who are already short now, they have their stops just above 40,000. So let's say we run maybe 40,000, maybe we drop back from there. So maybe we do something like this, pull back here, and then continue higher like that. It is completely a possibility. Again, something like this, you see with this previous high around 31, becomes support and then a run up. So if we do get a pullback, I do expect it to kind of be sharp and quick. It'll be scary, just like it usually is in these previous cycles, right? It just drops 20, maybe 30% in a period of 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, and everyone gets scared and say, hey, look, I told you the bear market's back, etc., and then it just rebounds. In a bullish trend, those corrections, they are fast, they are sharp, but they don't tend to last as long, usually 2 or 3 weeks. Sometimes even less than that, and then the trend continues higher. Again, I still think the target here is these highs over here between 48 and 53. I think that is still our target here. Now, whether we go up there in one go, which I guess is still a possibility, we're at 37. If we get an ETF approved, it probably goes straight to 50K without much of a pullback. But if we don't get any sort of major news or any sort of upside, it's very possible that we can also follow something like this, you know, where we maybe go 40, 41, 42, then pull back into the low 30s. This probably gets a lot of people going long here, just above 40K, and then it drops, it liquidates a whole bunch of people who are late longing, and it gets people to sell the bottom again, and then we continue higher. So in a bullish trend in these conditions, I would look for longs on pullbacks. It is hard to time shorts, and again, any sort of major news event, an ETF approval or something else that's bullish will just absolutely pump the price, and then you know, if you're short, you just get liquidated and you get wrecked. So obviously, when you're doing any sort of trading on leverage, you want to make sure that you only lose a maximum of 1% per trade. When you are wrong, that's the right way to approach it. But even that, you know, in general, bullish trends favor longing pullbacks rather than trying to short and trying to catch corrections. So just to give you a bit of a shorter term update, looking at the 4-hourly chart, what you can see over here very clearly is we are still making higher lows. You can see higher low, higher low, higher low. So there is no bearish market structure yet, meaning that the trend is still bullish even if there are pullbacks in the short term, even up to multiple thousands of dollars. Okay, what we are looking for a potential trend reversal is making a lower low. So I would say getting below, say, 34.5, that makes it more dangerous. Okay, so for now, any pullback is still in bullish trend territory. Now what we have over here is a potential range setup. You can see it wicked over here to the upside and to the downside, and now we are trading in the middle of this as a potential range. Usually you don't want to trade in the middle of a range because it's just too choppy and designed to wick out people trading with high leverage. What we're looking for is a sweep of the high or the low of this wick and a reclaim of this range. So basically one of the two scenarios. We don't know which one we're going to get, and either way that gives you a setup. So if it goes up and it sweeps the high and drops back in, that is a potential short. Okay, and we are in a bullish trend, but if this setup comes, the risk reward is usually very good. You can see over here, if it does something like that, that's almost a 1 to almost 7 risk reward, which is a good setup to take, you know, if you're trading the ranges. But if it sweeps the low first, which in a bullish trend I'm leaning towards, that means it gives us a potential long position after a sweep and a reclaim. So let's just say it sweeps the low here and it reclaims. We could enter over there and a stop at the low. We don't know where that's going to be yet. Okay, that's only visible after it sweeps and comes back in, and then we target continuation. So this is what I'm looking for in terms of a swing trade setup. If we do get a sweep over here, maybe around 35.3, long that, obviously after the sweep and reclaim of the range, that is the entry condition. If it sweeps and doesn't come back in, I'm not blindly longing it because it could go lower. But this is the setup here, and then the target would simply be the high of the range if we get the setup and maybe even continuation higher. So right now we just have to be patient. We have to see what we're going to get. We could get 1 to 2 weeks of sideways or chop or correction after such a big move up, and I'll try and keep you updated as best as possible here on the channel. If you do want my real-time updates, trade ideas in real time, everyday market analysis, you want to be able to ask me questions on charts, on trading, you want to interact with our community of more than 2,000 traders and investors around the world, join us inside VIP. It is risk-free for 60 days. The link is in the description down below. Right now, there's a Black Friday special offer until November 28th, and then the prices increase a lot permanently because it's just so cheap for what I'm offering. And again, there's no risk. You can come. Everything is given to you. There's nothing held back. Try it out. If you're not happy, you can get a full refund within 60 days. But I think you will find it very, very valuable if you do any sort of trading or investing. So come and join us. Link in the description down below. Smash the like button. I will see you in the next video.